Welcome to the Keeping It Real podcast by Real World Academy, where we hear from top educators, entrepreneurs, and creative thinkers on how to design your future. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Keeping It Real podcast. I'm your host, Domenico, the founder of Real World Academy. And today we have a couple of very special guests, Matt and Melissa from Last Trax clothing company. That's Last, T-R-A-X, based out of West Caldwell, New Jersey. Thank you guys so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So I want to start off just by asking you, what is your origin story and what inspired you to start Last Trax?
That's a long time coming.
Probably when we were 15, I think.
Yeah.
No, 16, something like that.
So just to give context, you guys grew up together.
Yes.
So same town in New Jersey, West Milford. Met each other in 7th and 8th grade. Mm-hmm. I'm older. And started skiing right then.
The ski club. We both were in the ski club together.
And it started, every Wednesday night throughout the winter. You go and you go up on a bus. You go up there. You dodge out on supervisors and chaperones, and you bomb them out and race around. No helmets.
Yeah.
Cigarettes. Whatever.
Yep.
Jeans.
Yeah. I
was wearing my jeans and a headband.
The Jersey way.
Yeah.
And from there, that was a love of ours.
Yeah.
It was always skiing. That's what we had. We always stayed friends all through high school. And
we always talked about skiing, even if we weren't skiing together. It was always just that something hit us with the ski club. It's great. It was,
And then, and she was always artistic, fashion, everything. And we would even talk about that. She valued my opinion if she just asked me about stuff. What do you think about this? And I'd be like, yes, no, yes, dude, I don't like that. That's nice. And okay, thanks.
So how do you go from being middle school and high school friends to years later being business partners? That's a big gap. So what's that journey?
I think we just actually talked about this before we got here. I said, I don't think we've ever really had a long lull of not being friends.
Oh, really?
We were always friends when, we did our own separate thing in college. He came to visit me in college, knows all my friends. I know all his, we always kept in touch, always had, this, major friendship together.
And a shared passion.
Yes, but I don't think we realized it then.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We just knew we loved that.
Yes.
And we always had that thing to talk about. And if I didn't talk to him forever, he'd be like, oh my God, I just saw this cool ski jacket. Or he'd send me ski pictures or something like that, or pictures of mountains. And all of a sudden, years later, we're still doing it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And that speaks to, following your passion and turning it into a career.
Yes.
So moving forward, when did you actually found the company? And we all know during those first few years of, starting a small business, there are unique challenges that you face. So walk us through that journey and how'd you get out of the other side?
It's again, from talking about it for so long, the company officially founded in 20.
Right. Well, we always said we need to put this on a T-shirt. Let's put this on a T-shirt. We're also somewhat comedians. We'll say stupid, funny things. Oh my gosh, that has to go on a T-shirt. But because we love skiing so much, we would say, let's one of these days have a ski company. And it was like a pipe dream kind of in a way. Like, that's never going to happen. Like, why would that ever happen? Like, how funny is that? But we would still call each other. Sometimes I would sketch some things like, how cool would this be if we did this? And then I'm guessing when COVID hit, I lost my design job. And we were kind of like, I remember texting you as I was leaving my job with my portfolio bag. I was having such a hard time. And I saw, this was before we knew the name or whatever. We thought of the name, but then I saw this van that had something like Last Trax or something like a moving company. I was like, I think this is a sign. Let's go. And Matt was like, we're doing this,
Wow.
So I just remember that moment, and I texted you that picture of the van.
It's probably in the,
right? I forgot.
Probably in the text.
I don't think we've mentioned this
somewhere
before this moment, 2 years ago. Like, I'm just thinking of it now as you're asking that question.
So an idea on the whim, plus the friendship you've had for a long time, that establishes a great foundation for a business partnership.
Right.
But I'm sure, especially starting a small business in the year 2020, you had to have faced some unique challenges. So what are those lesser known challenges that our students might not be aware of that you had to overcome?
I mean, it's taking your business and just deciding to do it. So it's now you buy the name. You got to search it out. Can you get the name? Who owns? Do you have to add a 20 to it? Do you have to add a, you can't have our clothing line, Last Trax, 1011.
Right.
So
Right.
it's find it, get it, own it. Now you find the lawyer. Now you actually get the company on paper.
I think it's also that confidence of knowing that we really felt like it was going to be something. And I don't think it's easy to take risks for anybody, especially younger kids, high school kids, college kids. It's not easy because it's not like your parents teach you like, hey, go jump off a cliff or go,
do something
and fail. Like the parents are always just trying to make them not do stuff like that. So I think it's something that's not taught. You just kind of have to have that in you. And I didn't know that I had that in me. I don't know if Matt knew he had that in him, but I feel like just the two of us bouncing ideas, we just kind of knew it was there. But I think something needed to hit. And if I am going to say anything positive about COVID, that might have been it for us.
Yeah, it was a wake-up call.
I think so.
Because we own it now,
we
so we have to do something
and
with it.
it's like, let's finally utilize what we can do. I've always said to Matt, you have so much potential to do so many things. Like he went to school for marketing. And, I always say, like, you have such an amazing brain. Like, let's continue doing this. And I went to school for fashion. So I kind of like learned a lot and I've been in the industry forever. But I never was taught to go and take a risk.
Right.
You know what I mean? Own your own business. But I do feel like that is something I would love to tell my younger self is, all right, learn this skill, know how to draw, know how to create, but learn that sometimes you do need to take a risk.
So how do you approach risk management with a business like this?
I mean, it's kind of your risk management kind of comes from your supply and demand.
Yeah.
It's kind of almost to a point forced upon you.
Okay.
Right.
Because if no one wants anything,
right.
okay. I got 7
also
shirts in my truck.
We also just did a release party 2 weeks ago. We were like, you know what? We love this stuff. We're getting good response from our close people and friends and this and that. And let's just really put it out there and see what's going to happen. So we put some money into it. If it didn't happen, it didn't happen.
Right.
At least we felt good about ourselves. I felt like I've been in this industry for so long. I wanted to finally do something of my own. You know what I mean? Like something that like I designed and everyone knows that I did this and Matt did this. And you know what I'm saying? Like I've always designed for other people and no one would ever know.
Do you think that a younger version of yourself would have been as well equipped to do a venture like this? Or do you think 2020 was the right time based on your experience?
It's weird because I'm an adventure girl. I'm a little bit of a risk taker, but I also come from a very conservative family.
Sure.
So it was always just kind of like, oh gosh, Melissa, don't do that. So I didn't do that. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. But and
also, by the time you're going through all that, you're doing the fashion. Little startups weren't as big of a thing.
Not at all.
There's nothing online.
Exactly.
Couldn't market anything on Instagram. Didn't exist.
Everyone's kind of doing things themselves now.
Right.
And I also felt like in the fashion industry, I was sick and tired of people telling me what to do, when to do it. Like, okay, be on at 9:30, and you have to leave at 11 o'clock at night. And sometimes I'm creative at 4 a.m.
Right.
So it would always be hard for me to just be on at 9:30 in the morning. And I would always try to tell my, bosses, like, I will do the work. I'm a hard worker. I can handle it. I just don't want to do it right now.
And that speaks to, because I understand this as well, being in a creative profession, structure is not always your friend. You need that spontaneity.
Yes,
to be
I
able
personally
to be creative.
do. Yeah. And then I get mad at myself for not being structured. And then I'm just thinking, but that's the only way I can be creative.
It's always that balance
It's
between
the only way.
time management and following the muse.
Yes, I sometimes do 10 different things all at once. 10 different ideas, designs. My brain sometimes that's just how I have to do it. That's just how I work.
So are you the creative force and Matt is the managerial force?
Or are you a little bit shaping up to be? It's definitely on her because she can take everything, ask my input, and help anywhere I can. And then we were trying to do everything kind of together. And spoke to a mutual friend of ours, and he's like, you don't have to learn. He spoke to me, he's like, you don't have to learn to do that.
Yeah.
You have someone to do that.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Like, I went to school to learn certain skills like a illustrator and all that stuff. So I have over 20 years of experience. And I know Matt has the brain for that, the creativity for it, but being that he doesn't have that many years of it, he almost needs to just be like telling somebody my vision.
Right.
But
so explaining it to her, be like, this is what I'm seeing. She'd be like this. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
I just need this and this.
Right.
She's like, yes. And sometimes she's like, no.
Right,
that's not going to work at all.
Right.
Another time she's like, didn't think about that. Let's
so
go
when
that
you
route.
do disagree, how do you resolve that? It seems like you guys obviously have a close relationship.
I just always only defer to her. Like, okay.
Trust the artist.
Yeah. And at the same time, if we stand for something, we're like, no.
I'm pretty good at
100%
taking,
and I'll be like, no, listen.
Yeah.
This is good. This is what it is. She'll be like, okay, all right, yep.
Yeah, because
yes.
I never liked not being that way. If I ever had an assistant at work, and if the person would be like, I want to show you something, I never would be like, no, put it away. I always wanted to, bring that on because I always know I'm not going to always be right, even though I know my vision, I see it, and then I take it, and then I'm like, oh, you know what? That is right. That's perfect.
Right.
Nailed it.
So what would you say to a design student or a fashion student who's approaching graduation? Would you recommend that they work for a company for a little while to understand the industry or go out on their own?
I think it's hard. I went straight to a company and I stayed there forever. I sort of wish that I think it's great if somebody becomes a freelancer and knows the ins and outs of all companies. Because if small companies, they will do everything. I've worked for small companies. I was their head designer, their head merchandiser, their head salesperson. I was everything. It was exhausting, but it was good in my 20s.
Right.
I didn't have a family. I didn't have a house. I didn't have, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I almost wish I did that because you really get to know everything. If you're in the design industry, kind of like take on every type of design you can. If like for me, I did, older women, men, kids. And then I finally got to the point where I like designing for kids, but that was like 20 years later.
Sure.
So I do think it's a good idea I mean, my dad wouldn't agree. He's very much like, get a job, get the benefits, lock it in.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why I did that.
Sure. Yeah.
And I was like, I can never leave this job. I have to do everything anyone tells me to do, which is great. And that's the mentality, I feel like, back in the day. But I feel like times have changed a little bit.
Yep.
People are kind of like owning who they are and what their potential is. Do you know what I mean?
And sorry, but the time to fail, you don't say
but
the time to fail is young.
Yep.
It is,
learn it, and don't be afraid to.
Got burned a million times, and my industry is cutthroat. It's in a sense brutal. So I wish I kind of saw all avenues at a younger age. Then I could have made my decision on this.
I think that newer generations are learning that lesson, and that it's not that black and white. You can have the day job where you get experience and you get rapport with your colleagues, and also be a freelancer on the side.
Yes, I think freelancing is. I didn't freelance until I think I was in my 30s, and I wish I was. I wish I did that a lot sooner. Gotcha. And I do feel like my one advice for design students is, don't just learn the creative side, because that's all I kind of knew, and all I was just creative. So I didn't know anything about how to have a business, start a business. I never even thought that would ever be a thing that I would ever do in my life. Right.
And it's talk to people. You don't have to tell everybody your idea, because you tell too many people,
don't. Yeah.
People tend to put it down.
And
because they're not confident in you for whatever their reasons are. Don't say too much, but talk to everybody that you can. So you can just find someone who's immediately
and
interested.
Don't burn any bridges ever.
Right.
That was a huge lesson I learned from my bosses and my father. He's like, do not burn any bridge. And I never did.
If you hate them, thank them.
20 years later, I have people calling me, hey, do you want to work at the Gap? Hey, do you want to work?
Wow.
I've always had such amazing relationships with people. Even when I've left, I've had bosses cry to me when I've left. Do you know what I mean? And even though I couldn't stand them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yep.
And later on, it's always going to come back,
Right. Well, you make yourself irreplaceable, and then that creates value.
Yeah.
But it's a hard line to ride pursuing your own thing,
Right.
and also being loyal to the people who
Right.
brought you along.
Right.
Sure, but and also realize for the most part, no one's going to be there for you.
Yeah.
No. Look out for yourself.
Yeah, because they're.
I hate saying that.
But you have to. You always have to keep that in your mind.
You
gotta,
do.
You got to be ready because they're. Someone's like, oh, just do this and I'll take care of it. They may never do that.
Right.
They're going to get what they want and they're going to walk away.
Yeah.
So, Matt, you touched on something that I'm interested in. You mentioned don't tell too many people your idea
Right.
because you're going to have haters and you're going to have
Yes.
doubters. What were those experiences like, and what manifested the confidence that allowed you to believe
I mean, it's just through on everything, every step of I grew up in a family construction business, then owned a wood flooring company, and it's every time it's what are you doing that for? Why don't you do this?
Sure. Yeah.
Well, just mind your business. Even
Right.
down to us with the logo. Why is the logo 5 colors?
Yeah.
Why is it 4 colors? Why don't you make it 2 colors?
I get
again,
so many people making comments.
You gotta just make decisions.
So
yes.
you have to be strong enough to not say too much because
Yes.
you are proud of it and you want to talk about what you're doing.
But someone will run with it. Like when
And
we
that's-
think of things, if I think of an idea, I'll be like, Matt, I got an idea. We're not telling anybody.
Right.
You cannot tell anybody.
Until
Yeah.
it's ready to
And
present.
then when,
Until it's ready,
when
yes.
it's yours, put it. Don't tell
Yes.
too many people
Yes.
what you're thinking about doing.
No, because somebody will just take it and run.
Right. Or,
They will.
or they'll just shoot the idea
Or they'll
down to
shoot
the
it down.
point to the point that you're
Yes.
like, I'm not even going to make an attempt on that.
Yes.
So you don't want to
But-
get yourself in that because people they will drag you down. And
But-
as many people as you have promoting you,
Yes.
you've got more saying he can't do that, she can't do that.
And if that happens, they just got to keep pulling through and keep going forward. And it's not easy as a young student to do that at all.
And with something that's as opinion-based as clothing,
Yeah.
you can't please everybody. You're not going to design something that every single person is going to want to wear.
No. And ultimately, I mean, for me, sometimes people are like, you're like a mountain girl. Like, it's weird that you're in fashion. And, I've said this so many times, and it's like, I just love making people feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
I get so excited when somebody wears something of mine and feels good. And I like designing for people, like even men. I'm not a man, so I don't wear what they like. So when I see a man wearing something that I've designed, I'm like, oh, I know.
Is it harder for you to design for
better.
men?
No, I love it. I think just I've designed for children, for women. The hardest was women. Women's wear was the hardest.
Why?
Because the trends are so fast forward and fast moving. And if you don't hit that trend, as a designer and my bosses, they'd be like, why didn't you do that?
Okay.
And then I'm like, I presented it 7 months ago, but you didn't think it, you know what I mean? So it's
On the men's
constant,
side,
men's side, it's
T-shirt, it's jeans. Even you put a suit on every day. Well, what's you're not revolutionizing the dress shirt.
Right. And with
You're
Last
just changing a pattern.
Tracks,
You're changing a fabric.
Right.
You're not, it's
timeless
basic.
almost.
It's
I feel like
simple.
with Last Trax, that's what we're trying to do is make things a little bit more timeless. It's
obsessed
you
with
will-
the 70 print.
I
color.
love retro
Technicolor stuff.
Yep.
That's
Well,
awesome.
stuff. I think it's great. And Matt thought of the phrase "nowtro" because it's like, we love, the retro look, but it's so now,
Absolutely.
So I think it's great. I love that. My friend called me the other day and she's like, my friends call me Mo. She's like, Mo, my husband stole the sweatshirt I bought. I need another one. So, and then she's like, my daughter took it too. So I love that our designs, our work, anything that I'm creating is kind of for everybody. And I think that's great. And especially like nowadays, everything's a bit more unisex. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's a little easier on her end to just have to look at colors. Instead, not like, well, is the cutout in? Is the back?
No,
is the head?
right,
it's
right.
Just colors. Timeless pieces.
Yes.
What's the colors for the season?
Right.
So I'm curious, throughout the course of your fashion career, how often did you have to experience designing something that you personally hate, but it's going to sell?
I've
This is
had
what
it
the
a lot.
company wants.
I had to design for Alfred Dunner, which is like worse than Golden Girls.
Okay.
I mean, I think I would like gag every day over what I had to.
She would text me like doing like a kid's line something.
Yes.
And be like,
Oh, yes.
She's like, I'm doing.
I can't believe I have to do this right
campy
now.
line right now. I'm like, all right. So what about this? And she's like, no, that's too good.
Yeah,
They
yes.
want like this in it and
Like
that. And I was
super
like,
tacky.
I'm sitting in my work van.
Yeah.
And I got my notepad out. And I'm like. Taking pictures like, what about this? What about this? What about this? And she's like literally, it's
not
too good. Like
easy.
you gotta
you
make it.
can't.
You gotta make it like almost dumber.
No, I get it.
But sometimes
Yeah.
I've gotten hired from these companies that were like super tacky, and they just need that little bit of coolness to it, but not cool. Like still design apples on a sweater.
Yeah.
But then I'm kind of like, can we throw in a pair of sunglasses on it? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm like,
No.
nailed it.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's the same thing with music. Not to get too off track.
Yeah, no, it is. You gotta. I mean, you're in customer service. You know, you have to play. You have to entertain and play what people want to hear. I have to design what people want to wear, but at the same time, I also want to tell them what to wear.
And it's important for our students to hear. You got to pay your dues.
Yeah,
you're not always gonna like every single aspect of what you're doing, even though you're following your passion.
Right.
There are annoying clinical chores that you have to do no matter what business you're in.
Yes.
Like my flooring company, you walk in and people have 3 colors they want. And you're looking at all 3 going, are you out of your mind? You got to find a nice way to say that.
Yes.
You have to still be smart in your words. And you know,
when
as soon as they say, what do you think? And I'm like, here we go.
Yeah.
So here's what I think. You know, and other times like they don't want to hear it. And you're like, how do I tell this person?
How do you tell them?
You're making
when I see somebody wear something absolutely horrendous, I'm not annoyed at the person wearing it. I'm annoyed at the designer that designed it.
Absolutely.
That's immediately what I go to.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
I'm like, who is this idiot that just created that? And how did that get passed?
Some people, so they don't know how to dress, but they might be like, I like Kors. I like Michael Kors stuff.
Yeah.
Well, this just came out. It's great, isn't it? It was like, God,
It's horrendous. Yeah.
No, it's not great.
It's so tough when it's such an opinion-based thing.
It is.
Do you feel like you've reached a point in your career where you are able to just make what you love?
Now I am.
Yeah.
Now honestly, with Last Trax, I never felt like I could. Like I did stuff for the Gap design, Gap Kids, and I created a lot of stuff, and I did like it, and it would get out there, but it bothered me that it wasn't like. I'd be like, hey guys, that was me. You know what I mean? If I saw like this little girl at a beach wearing something, you know, I'm just like this small little speck of sand that she's walking on. You know what I mean? So now I feel like I finally got to a point where I can actually, and it's actually, it's not in my comfort zone at all to even promote myself and be like, me, this is all me. But I kind of feel like I've been burned so many times in other industries and other companies of them not taking credit or giving me credit that I finally am like, all right, I did this. And if you don't like it, it's fine because I know plenty of other people that do.
But it's a long journey, right? It doesn't happen overnight.
No. And it's confidence. You need that confidence. And unfortunately, in the fashion industry and from what I've experienced, they kind of bring you down a little bit and then it brings you back. You got to get back up.
Who brings you down?
Just
the culture.
The culture, you know, and you have to be a certain way. And I studied in Paris in college, and I remember my professor literally threw me into a Yves Saint Laurent fashion show, and he said, "Take this camera, pretend you're a camera person, and pretend you're somebody else." And I was like, "Okay," and I hated that feeling. I wanted to be myself.
Yeah,
I know that's kind of cheesy, but like I didn't like that feeling, and then I was a stylist for a little bit, and I had to butter up these celebrities, and it just made me uncomfortable. I'd rather make somebody who's a non-celebrity or, you know, feel good
like
about them, feel like a celebrity. And I was like, wow, that's actually, because people would be like, that's so cool what you do. I'm like, I don't feel good about it.
But that's also a business opportunity, and you realize that that's a separate audience.
Yes. I mean, there would be, you know, bosses, like when I would do model go-sees and I'd have to pick models and they'd say stupid stuff like, Melissa, you would die to be them, wouldn't you? And I'd be like, I mean, I wasn't thinking that, but should I? I don't know. You know, and then all of a sudden I'd go home like, wait, I didn't even, you know.
Wow, but these are experiences that make it tough.
Oh, I have so many. Yeah.
Wow.
So it just, you know.
It's good. We had to get the company out for COVID, what was going on, her out of her job, not going into the city anymore. It had to be, we have to do this. We have to get the names. We have to own everything. It's ours. We're done
the cool
talking
thing
about
is,
it so that she has this opportunity to just like, here it is. It's yours. You're home.
Right.
It's go. Do everything you've ever wanted to do because no one here is telling you no.
Right.
I'm never going to be like, no. What are you nuts? Don't do that.
Like,
that makes for a good business relationship.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we mentioned you took the risk to launch your own company. And, you know, obviously we talked about passion and experience and confidence. when did you realize that you had an audience for this? When did the light bulb go off and be like, this could actually work?
I feel like I don't know. It's kind of started with even the hike too, like our whole, how we got there, knowing it's something, knowing we're kind of something, I think.
Yeah, like, I
don't know.
It's a confidence. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it started in Vermont is where it all really kicked off. The name, the whole deal. We went up on a trip and we did a hike, and not a hike, I mean, it was, but there was a power outage on the mountain.
Oh.
So we go up. There's 100 accessible trails, open trails. There's one lift that accesses 5 miles of skiing. So we get there, we ski a little run, and we see this whole group of people walking.
Right. I'm like, what are they doing?
They going. Take our skis off, and we just start hiking up the mountain. They start bailing off into the woods one by one.
And I'm looking, and there's not a single, I'm not like a big, I'm a woman, blah, 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 but no, like there weren't any chicks on that mountain at all. And we were like, let's go.
And we just kept trucking, got up, got to a sign. Now, I've been to Killington so many times. I know the mountain when I'm doing 30 miles an hour on skis.
Right.
But you walk and you're standing at the sign, I'm like,
It's different.
Where the hell are we right now? And so we got to the sign, like, all right, we got to go down this way. Boom, shot down the side of the mountain. Coming to the lodge where, I mean, we're
disheveled,
beat red.
I'm like, we just hiked Killington Mountain. What the hell was that?
We come in, people are looking at us. They're like, "What? Why did you come down that way when that's the lift that's servicing?" We're like, well, we hiked. So, oh, Christ, that's unbelievable. So we have a drink. She says, what do you want to do? Have another drink? You want to go back out there? I'm like, we're doing another run. Get out, hike the same exact trail, see a double diamond, and say, we're going to hike up that now.
Okay.
So now we're trucking up that. We get to the top of that. I had to go back to get her skis from her.
Well, he had to like dig in his boots into the mountain, and I was falling backwards with my skis. The weight of my skis was making me fall back.
Gotcha.
So I was like, I'm going back. I'm like, this isn't going to be good. I'm a goner. So I had to hand him my skis. He handed me his poles, and we just kept going. And we just fell.
I'm on my back. My jacket's open. Steam's coming
Sweating,
out.
yeah.
It's snowing.
Oh, yeah, that's
in the
right,
middle
yeah.
of April.
Yeah.
And then she comes up, crests it, see me down. She goes face down in the snow. The snowcat trucking behind us. I'm like, all right, let's go. We got to go. Boom, race back down the mountain again. Yeah. Now we walk in. My girlfriend, her husband are in the bar waiting for us. They didn't ski. They're waiting for us. We walk in. Now everyone's seeing us for the second time. Disheveled, blown out, jackets open, sweat. Her hair is stuck to her face. We walk in, kiss two separate people, and everyone's like, what is going on in here right now? And a guy finally, we're telling everybody our story. Guy comes walking over and he puts down, stands right between us. Well, you'll love this. You're a music guy. He looked, he looked like Stuart Copeland.
Okay.
Identical to Stuart Copeland. He walks in, he lays the map down right between us. Show me what you did. It's like, all right. We took the lift here, down here, up here. Then we got to here, helter skelter. We hiked that to the top. We came around. He picks it up. He goes, "Oh, fuck off!" And he
did he spit his beer out or something? He's like, "Oh my god!"
And then just runs away.
Why was he angry? He was...
No, just couldn't believe that we did it. He's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not
because he wanted to do what we did.
He wanted to come down that
and
side.
He's like, He's
like, okay, I'm not doing that. Okay. So and then we got into the whole mountain legend thing. They were calling us. Went to another bar, and they're like, the mountain legends. And it was during that it was like,
and then I feel like
people like us.
Wow, that was cool. And then I just think we kept talking about it every day. We kept talking about then designs, and we were so inspired by that day. And I remember being at work, I kept sketching mountains, people climbing them.
And you noticed there was a camaraderie, there was a culture to it.
Yes, awesome. Which I love.
You felt a part of that.
Yes. Totally.
And that launched the idea.
Yeah.
And then like a year or two later, I guess we
after we kept talking about wanting to do this.
Right. And we rented a mountain house up there.
Yeah.
And a bunch of couples, we all went up, and the joke on not the joke, but the first tracks is what you try to make.
You always try to do first tracks when you're a skier.
So you set that line, that's yours, that's mine, I did it, I started. Well, we
partied too much the night before.
So we're like,
and we're hanging out.
We're not making first tracks.
Yeah.
So now it's 2:30 in the morning. We're all getting at it. The music's on. We're having the time of our lives. And my buddy just looks at us and goes, "We ain't making first tracks. We're making last tracks."
There you go.
And me and Matt were like,
there
she is.
There it is.
That is awesome.
There it is.
So, and it's perfect because our personalities we always stay up crazy late. We're always the last man standing. I'm always late to a party, but I'll never be the first to leave, ever. I think it's rude when people leave early instead of rude when people are late.
Yeah.
But
we're closing it.
I am just that person. I'm always that, you're gonna. It's just, and we're like that at the same time. So it kind of works in that sense. But
and that's where it all came from.
Yeah, and it's kind of like find your own way. Yeah, true.
Wow.
Find your own path. Keep going. Don't stop. Like if the chairlift ends at 4:00, and if we can get that last one at 3:59, we're going. And that was taught from Ski Club.
Right.
Gotcha.
Ski Club was always one more run. I taught my kids
circle.
that. I'm like, one more run. Always, never say you want to go home early. Always go until the bitter end.
The bus is going to wait for you.
The bus always waited. I was always that girl that was like, oh, I'm on the other side of the mountain. Oh, here we go. Let's wait for Melissa. And I'm like, but I found an adventure, and I always...
You're chasing the adventure.
I'm chasing the adventure. I'm not a very structured person. I don't really like to follow a specific trail all the time. I like when something goes wrong because something better always happens for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I feel that is like that for other people sometimes. Like, don't necessarily feel like your life needs to be this way, that way. And, even for students, younger kids, it's okay to choose another way. You can always go back.
But it's important to choose a path.
It
you can't have paralysis.
Right.
And you don't have to always see that path out to the end. Halfway down it, you might find that this is not
working
this is
out.
the wrong path.
But there's always another way back up.
Or there's a better path. Not that it's the wrong path.
No,
you almost can't take a wrong path.
Right.
You're going to draw something out of it. You're going to take something from it. You're just going to find the right path to see through to the end.
Yeah, and I always say it's just as important to know what you don't like as what you do like.
Especially in this industry.
Yes,
for
sure.
We look at design some things and we're like,
nope,
we're never doing that. That is no matter what, that's not happening.
Correct.
So fast forward to today. What's a day in the life of Matt and Melissa at Last Trax? What are the daily business operations? How does that work?
It's different all the time. It's there might be from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. literally nothing happens. And then get on texts, calls.
Yeah.
She'll sketch something, draw something. I'm trying to talk to people to try to you got to find income for this. You don't just walk into and be like, we got it. So that's where back to before, talk to everybody.
I'm trying to taking side jobs at the moment, and he's doing his job at the moment, and at the same time I have a job here and my computer here and my Last Trax computer's here.
Yep.
We're trying to figure out, even for us, like, okay, is it warehousing now? Are we shipping it ourselves? Who's going to take care of these responsibilities? Do we want these responsibilities? We're finding out kind of we do.
Right.
And just, all right, now how do we get to that?
I feel like we got to a point where this could actually be something. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because I think for us, it was like, this is kind of fun. Let's do something fun. Let's do some T-shirts. Let's make some T-shirts. But
now we want more of the structure to. This is where we go to work. This is happening. So it's finding the numbers for that.
Right.
Constantly, what do we pay for that? What's this? What can we get here? Okay, what if we get it in bulk? And then I'll text the wholesaler. What can we get our number here in bulk? Should we try this printer?
Right.
And it's just finding out where your numbers are. Because they're always changing, but where your numbers are to how much you want to take on, and find someone who's interested in helping you get that.
Right, and that's a good thing for students to learn if they're creative people. Like I said, I've only learned the creative end. I, for right now, pretty much only know how to do anything creative, and you know what I mean. I know a lot of information, sales, and just being in meetings. But I think it's important for somebody in that industry to also learn about what's going to make it sell, what's going to, what are your margins,
Some people want to be a part of it, and they don't even want anyone to know that they're a part of it.
Right.
Yeah. They see an idea, and they're like, I like this. Do you need help?
Yeah.
It's like, in the beginning, it was, I don't even know how to ask for help.
Right.
I don't know. And then as you
we'll
get a
get
response,
there. Like right now,
you know what you need.
But pretty much, I'm doing the photo shoots. I'm doing the photography.
It's down to a social media post.
I'm doing the social media posts.
Spend hours on that, figuring the wordage of it.
Right.
That'll be what we did that evening.
So, what are some of those growing pains that you went through? Imagine you're giving advice to a young person who wants to start a business. What are those mistakes that they should avoid?
Mine just goes back to keep your mouth shut.
Okay.
That's really important.
Trust the vision.
Exactly.
I agree.
Trust the vision, and it's it's even doing everything right.
And don't
gonna be a
ask for
step
people's
back in there.
opinions. Like, don't ask for their opinions.
No.
I'm always.
Interesting.
I'll ask my daughter.
Yeah. Or again, someone who, if there's someone you trust, just be like, this scheme or this scheme, color scheme maybe, not, hey, what about this entire design?
Right.
Don't do that.
I'm kind of going with.
It's okay for a little detail.
My
you want that input.
instinct is what I'm been going with.
But
now,
you got to be
for
prepared.
now.
You got to be prepared to take a step back, even when you're succeeding.
Yeah.
It's okay to be, okay, that didn't work. Oh no. Oh, wait a minute. There's no money in the bank account. Oh no, step back. But you're still doing something good and trusting in that. But you're going to get knocked backwards.
Yeah.
It's inevitable.
So resilience.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be. You have to be. Again, you have to, number one thing is you have to believe you're doing it. If you don't believe that it's worth it, just stop right away until you find something that is going to be worth it.
And it's possible to pursue a venture like this and still have a 9-to-5 where you can pay the bills. I think that is so important for students to understand because
it doesn't happen overnight.
Right, because you don't always, do things you love for sure. Don't take on something you love and then it becomes something you hate.
Yeah.
But if you can somehow find a balance, that's great. I still feel like I'm trying to find that balance because when I get a full-time job, I'm not home till 8 o'clock at night, and that my family suffers from that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of like taking a major risk by not taking that job in order to do all the back end work of Last Trax.
Yeah.
And
it's not easy.
With it is also patience. It's we didn't have the opportunity at 18 years old to go knock on dorm room doors with our product. We're starting this as adults. We're late in the game.
Yeah, like who starts out at this age?
I know, but you try it, and you can see, back to your point, you can do a 9-to-5 and just know, well, the company's going to take off. Yeah, but it might take off in 2028.
Right.
Yeah.
That's okay, because in 2028 I'm going to be going, this is great.
Yeah.
That's where you want to get to.
I would love to find a 9 to 2. Because I don't have a 9 to 5. Mine's like the hours are ridiculous. I have to
like an 11 to 6.
like I'll take how about 11 to 2? I'll do that.
Exactly.
We want to have England hours, but
Listen, my hours are so screwed up. I work the other 9 to 5. I work 9 p.m. to 5 a.m.
Right. And again, that's the beauty
and
of
I've
having
done that too. I do
online
that.
now.
Yeah.
Is your store is open whenever somebody wants it to be.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a nice touch. There is no storefront right now.
Right.
Again, is that storefront even a thing anymore? Is
It's
it going to be a thing
antiquated.
moving
I do
forward?
think a challenge for us and for me is because of we're a little bit not older, but in my industry, like I don't know the whole social media part. I kind of missed that. You know what I mean? So how to get it out there, not having a store, is a little bit of a task for us. Like right now, I'm just putting it on social media and posting it, but I don't know how to get it somewhere else. So that's where we need to find someone that's going to help us with that, because that's a missing piece for us.
Right.
I didn't learn that in college. He went to marketing school or school for marketing. That wasn't there. That wasn't there by the time he graduated.
By the time I graduated, like MySpace, MySpace was out. Like it was like
my first in my first job, I was faxing things. I'm the one that put all of our hand sketches onto the computer. So I'm missing the whole. So that's a major challenge.
And we're also
for us right now.
We're not really big
self-advertisement. I was always like shy with my sketches and drawings. I never wanted anyone to see them.
They do 3 posts a day, and we're like, we're not doing that. But so now it's, well, all right, I took a picture today. Can we use this for anything? What do you think? Okay, we'll send that out in 2 days.
There's so many ideas.
What's the balance?
But I don't like doing it. I don't like posting it out. It's like, again, out of my comfort zone. It's not, I feel too showy, even though I'm supposed to be.
Right.
That's our industry is what we're saying. Hey, look at me, look at my designs.
But it's what we want to put
uncomfortable.
Out there.
Yeah.
Like if someone's just going to hammer the social media site with it, Instagram with it, Facebook with it, we're going to be like, well, they put that on there for us.
Yes, right.
It's tough.
It's a micromanage. It's how much do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Right.
In the beginning, you kind of have to, but at some point, you're going to exhaust yourself. You get nothing accomplished.
Yeah.
No,
The only thing I'd say is not to take it too seriously.
Correct.
You
Right,
know, you
right.
put content
and
out
we
there.
don't,
Yeah.
which is
No,
great.
'cause
we don't take ourselves seriously,
No.
so
Because if we're having fun,
Yeah.
then that's going to be reflected. Someone's
Yeah.
going to see something and say, "That's fun. That's a
Yeah.
fun design. Look at that. I want that. I want to wear
Yeah.
that. I want to be part of that." And then we threw the big release party, and then we're like, "Oh, we should do another one in like April or June or something."
Right.
And then immediately jumps in and says, "Well, Christ, can we ask our friends to come back? Like, what's what's in every person we know? What's their value to how much they're going to buy?
Right.
We can't just pin it on it." And then immediately we get into maybe we'll just be known as just. Last Trax also throws parties, and you don't
the
want
Last
to
Trax
miss
party
you
as
don't want to miss
well.
that party.
Exactly.
The new releases are over there, but hey man, we're having party.
And that's a unique angle
Yeah.
to get an audience. Because
I
I was
think
just
so.
going to ask you, have you thought about doing pop-ups? Because those
Yeah.
are
Yes,
huge.
yes.
Yep.
We've been trying to research, certain towns and, where our target market is, which I kind of think is almost it's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
It's everyone, like the response that we got from the release party was great because we didn't know. Really, everybody loved our logo. There are people all around town like, "Oh my gosh, hey, what's up, Last Trax?" Seeing everybody, and
That's awesome.
And it's like the little kid is wearing the hat, and the dad is wearing it the next day, and you know what I mean. So I'm like, we're really on to something.
Yeah,
you know,
you create a culture around
Yes,
it, and then
absolutely.
people want that to associate themselves with that brand.
Yes,
And that's what one of our friends said. He's like, you guys. Everyone kind of says like you're a ski company, you're a mountain company, and he's like, you guys are.
we started out that way, but
we're based in the mountains.
Just
That's
so you
where
know,
it started.
I didn't get that vibe.
Okay.
oh,
I
okay,
didn't
good.
I
yeah.
didn't. I mean, I got that's where the origin story
Right,
is
right,
from,
right.
But I just thought they were cool clothes.
Yeah.
So for
Appreciate
me,
that.
who's someone who's not a skier, not a mountain
Right.
person, but I like to wear cool clothes.
Right, right.
I don't feel a gap, between my identity and what
Cool.
Last
That's what we
Trax
want to hear.
is.
It's for everybody.
Everyone. Yeah.
We're trying to make it for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's design in with the color schemes, with the retro look, the Nitro look. It's you want to make it so that's really cool. What is it? I don't know. I think it's a ski company. Well, I don't know. It might be a mountain company. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
They're just,
It's really just a company
They're a
just to make people feel good, and it's lasting designs that you could just keep wearing, forever.
no matter what you're doing, make
No matter
it
what you're
last
doing,
for
make it
yourself.
last,
Make,
yeah.
make it last somewhere. Make everything you do, make it last.
Yep.
Wow.
Most important thing.
That's why I take pictures. I like to make the moment last.
Gotcha. Well, listen, why don't we leave it there? I think that's a
Cool.
great place to leave it off. Thank you guys so much for
Thank
coming.
you so much.
Appreciate
This was
it. Thank
great.
you.
Matt and Melissa from Last Trax. And who knows, maybe we'll do an event together. Real World
That sounds
Academy
good.
and Last
That would be
Trax.
Yeah, that would be
Fabulous.
great.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you for listening to the Keeping It Real podcast by Real World Academy. If you're a student looking for a mentor or a parent looking to help your kid design a happy life and a successful career, visit our website at realworldacademy.org and subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and wherever you listen to podcasts to hear more exclusive content on how to design your future.